How are we doing, everybody? Came across this interesting article pertaining to kind of some new research that is being done where they've been modifying rice grain to be able to produce more CoQ10. I'm sure many of you have probably seen commercials for CoQ10 and seen it maybe at the supplement store or at your local grocery store. And if you're not familiar, CoQ10's primary role is to aid in ATP or energy production with mitochondria. And this is, you know, I'm curious where you all stand whenever it comes to GMOs, right? Genetically modified organisms or genetically modified food. This particular research, what they were doing is they were trying to, or what they've successfully done, it would seem, is allow for rice to be grown that produces CoQ10. It would appear that primarily rice produces CoQ9. That's what it says here, right? It's found mostly in cereals, whereas the more beneficial CoQ10 is found in some fruits and vegetables. Although, to be honest, the best sources are still from animal products, particularly like beef and pork, although that's often in the organ meats or the offal parts of the animals. And a lot of people don't tend to eat that, particularly here in the United States. What I found interesting, I was reading through this article, which led me actually to the study, which I can pull up, and I was looking over the study in terms of what they were doing. But I guess before I do that, let me show you a quick little chart kind of comparing sources and bioavailability from different sources of food. So as you can see, I mean, you're getting a lot in terms of total amount or percentages from, again, beef and pork heart, chicken livers if you like eating that, beef liver. I personally eat all this. um, don't eat as much fish as I'd like to, particularly sea fish, saltwater fish. I'm more of a freshwater guy. But yeah, and then a lot of people, because whenever it comes to therapeutic amounts, so again, your 11 to 12 milligrams, and again, not a lot of people are eating beef heart, and if you did, you'd have to eat quite a lot to get the same amount that you might get in supplementation form, which a lot of people take. The question I had whenever I was looking at this is really, okay, if you can produce it in the rice, and their whole idea is that, well, a lot of people eat rice. If we could get CoQ10 in the rice, that would then allow for people to have more of it in their diet, which should be a good thing, right? Because it's needed for energy production. And as the thought goes, the older you get, the less CoQ10 you create within your own body. So supplementation form would be a good stop or good bet to allow people to get more of it and be healthier, right? This is actually a pretty common thing within any type of public health endeavor, finding easy ways to get whatever it may be into the populace. But whenever I was looking into it, it didn't seem like it actually produced all that much. And in fact, from the study, it looked like if you didn't have it in the rice, it's going to be near zero because the rice doesn't really produce CoQ10 to begin with. But then they modify it, and you can get, maybe up to a milligram of it in a 100-gram serving of rice. But still, you're getting, 10 times, 10 to 12 times that amount in beef heart, or, 100 to 200 times that amount in a supplement. And something to consider is that CoQ10 is fat soluble, meaning that, you need to have fat with it to be properly absorbed, or better bioavailability of it to be absorbed. It would be ensuring that you have some type of fat going along with it. Just something to keep in mind there. And I'm actually curious, now that I think about it, I'm not sure whenever it comes to the supplement form, particularly capsules, if they have a mixture of fat along with the CoQ10 in there whenever you're taking that. That might be something that I look into. But Again, kind of curious where you're at on that and what your thoughts are with it. Whenever I was looking at the study, one thing that they did note in the study, one of the limitations, because I was thinking, man, if you're going to do this, you'd really need to produce a lot more. And so the fact that they were able to produce it begs the question, okay, you got rice to make CoQ10. Can you get rice to create it in significantly larger quantities? And it sounds like, yes, they could, but that was not what they were looking at in this particular study. So, maybe future studies, that'll be something that they take a look at and potentially have the option to, grow something like rice with significantly more CoQ10. Anyway, it was just a quick little highlight of something that came across my eyes this morning. Where do you all stand whenever it comes to all of this? I find the science of it really fascinating, pretty cool. I think there are better use cases of it. I I don't think that I think that this is not the best way for going about getting a healthier population. You really have to go further back and start looking at, okay, well, why aren't people getting enough CoQ10 to begin with in their diet? And actually, are they not getting enough? What else might be going on? What's hindering this? Just trying to continue to force on more and more of it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the outcomes that you want. And kind of with that, what are many of the possible unintended outcomes of this? You know, so yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.